grading Kyle McCord's performance from Ohio State's 23-3 season-opening victory here at Indiana's Memorial Stadium. I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com, along with Stephen Means and Andrew Gillis. People who've been watching us know this is what we do from every game. We thought we were going to have to do 2 of these tonight. We thought, and I think Ryan Day thought, Devin Brown was going to play a lot more than he did. But Kyle McCord started, and I don't think the game situation really ever dictated a place for them to be more experimental than they were with the quarterback situation. Stephen, let's start with you. What grade are you giving Kyle McCord for his second career start, first of the 2023 season?
First against a Power 5 opponent, let alone a Big Ten opponent, so it's a much different type of test here. I'm going to go C. I thought he was good, okay. Very much C.J. Stroud against Minnesota, except there were the explosive plays because, they just kind of doubled Marvin Harrison all game. The offensive line wasn't as clean as it maybe was in 2021 with that crew, so he didn't get those opportunities. But I thought he made some of the right reads. He didn't always make the best read. He had the one interception, which Ryan Day even explained. It's a 4th down situation. We didn't get the look we wanted, and they got him down to the ground, so it wasn't a disaster. It's whatever. It was okay. It's a good start for a guy who I saw things, though. I did see some things where I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see if it locks in. But I also saw some things that let me know this is his first start against a Power 5 opponent.
And a Power 5 opponent that has a pretty good defensive line, and or at least more to the point was having its way with Ohio State's offensive line or certain people on it at certain points today. Andrew, what's your grade for Kyle McCord?
Yeah, B- I think is fair. I think if this were Western Kentucky, if this were someone else, I would give it a lower grade. I just think considering the opponent, considering the stakes, considering just everything going into today, I think a B- is where I land, just because, like Stephen was mentioning, how different do we think about this performance if there weren't some of these errors on the offensive line and the running game really takes off? Does that open up the passing game? Does McCord have some more throwing lanes? Like, there are certain things that I think were kind of out of his control that you can really point to and say, okay, well, this can be better and this can be better, and those things are independent from the quarterback. Yeah, Kyle McCord can be a lot better, I think. There were some reads that he made. He threw one pass down at that end zone where I think it was to Marvin, where you kind of looked at it and went, I don't know about that. Like, that was not a great throw, and I think you remarked at the time that was worse than the interception that he threw. So, to me, there was some good, there was some bad. Ryan Day kind of talked about this a lot, that there was a mixed bag when it came to the offense, good and bad. I think this is the same thing with Kyle McCord. So yeah, I think it's promising. I think a B- kind of reflects that. It's not really, we'll talk about this, I'm sure, but he seemed to be the guy. So I think he handled the pressure pretty well.
I was right on the B-, C+ divider and the more I think about it, I'm probably leaning into C+ territory. But I talked about on the podcast earlier this week, listen to the podcast, Buckeye Talk, wherever you can find podcasts, that I wanted to see some of those special throws. And because we saw what Justin Fields did very early in his career with those sideline throws. We saw what C.J. Stroud did, the way he could look off safeties and throw bullets downfield. And I don't know that Kyle McCord did anything quite to that level today. But the one that he whistled over the middle in the traffic to Julian Fleming, I thought was a big moment for him. The seam that he hit Cade Stover on was a big moment. I thought that there was another play late in the game where he kind of got flushed out and had to wiggle around a guy. It was a little loose, frankly, and there are other teams that might take advantage of it better. But he gets a pass off to Chip Trainum, keeps the drive alive. And that was, I thought, an interesting moment, because I'm like, okay, what do they look at on film out of this game? And how does he make that play look better next time, where it isn't as loose and maybe it is a little bit more refined and just better? So I thought today was an okay foundation for him. It was not stellar quarterback play. I think the quarterback play has to be better. But I also think today, if you were wondering why the offense was clogged up a little bit, it wasn't quarterback play. There were some other factors. Quarterback play needs to be sharper. This is not Ohio State standard quarterback play. Neither was C.J. Stroud in his first game as a starter in 2021. He then came along and elevated the standard, and we'll see if Kyle McCord does that. We'll see what Devin Brown does next week, when I think he undoubtedly gets more play against Youngstown State. Get the text, 614-350-3315. Everything we were seeing and hearing before the game, the analysis we were making during the game, all that comes first to your phone from Buckeye Talk.